skincare is not one size fits all. At Image, we rely on skincare professionals and clinically proven ingredients to create solutions that adapt to your lifestyle. But don't take it from us. Just ask the 30,000 plus professionals in over 60 countries across the globe who trust Image Skincare to deliver when it comes to results. And while we got our start with skincare pros, we think it's about time you got to know us better too. Tune into Skinfluence to hear straight from industry professionals on how to keep your skin healthy, radiant, and resilient through every stage of your vibrant life. Hello, and welcome back, skincare aficionados, to Skinfluenced, a podcast where we talk all things skin. I'm Ashleigh Kurt, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jacquelyn Hill. Hi, Jack.
Hey, Ashleigh. How's it going?
You know, it's going. It's hot.
I love the hot. So
I know you do.
I'm never going to complain about the hot.
But it's like another level, right?
My level. It's Jack's level of hot.
Sauna level.
Sauna level is my level.
So last month we talked wellness, which was such an amazing segment. I loved our guests. It was beyond.
It was beyond, and I love that we kind of integrated everything. So whether it was kind of Western kind of wellness with medicine, or whether you wanted to do kind of yoga or alternative. So I loved it. I love that we touched on a little bit of everything in the summit. Amazing. What did you think of the summit?
Oh my gosh. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, it will be on our website at imageskincare.com. But we did this wellness summit that was 2 full days of just, it's just wellness. I mean, everything from,
mental health, food. I'm still trying to figure out how to do all of those things with the band exercises for the hip. I literally cannot sit down trying to do those band exercises.
Girl, you got to take those when you start traveling again with you. Yeah. It's like a game changer. I'm really excited about that for sure.
I love it.
Me too. So today's topic is actually healthy aging. So September is Healthy Aging Month, and we're going to really dive into that today, talking about the 4 keys to a healthy, happy aging process: skin, exercise, diet, our mind, and we have a really special guest that we both love very much. So I'm going to let you introduce him.
Yeah, so today we have Dr. Marc, and Dr. Marc is kind of the guru on healthy aging, so I'm very excited to introduce him. He is a European board certified plastic and aesthetic surgeon, the co-founder and board member at Image Skincare, a graduate of the prestigious Heinrich Heine University of Medicine. Dr. Marc, he speaks all around the world at medical conferences, so he's a respected medical speaker. He is founded Image Skincare. He founded the Care for Skin Foundation, a nonprofit organization that provides life-changing reconstructive and cleft palate surgeries. So, Dr. Marc, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, guys. Super excited to be with you.
We are super excited to have you. We are super excited to have you. So I know that healthy aging is kind of like your jam. So we're just going to get right into it. So talk a little bit with us about your journey into healthy aging and what makes you so passionate about this topic.
Yeah, that's a great question. So for my background as a plastic surgeon, obviously I'm constantly surrounded by people that want to look younger or want to stay young, and that is really the trigger point for me many years ago that I got really interested in it, because the point about this is people are always looking for other people to help and alter your appearance. Patients that come to me are always asking what I could do for them.
Right.
But
me too.
In fact,
me too.
Right. But in fact, we as patients or people can really alter our own aging process, and we have it really in our own hands.
Right.
And there are a few things that we can do, actually many things that we can do, in order to combat aging and delay the aging process for ourselves. And that is, for me, really the exciting part of this, that we are basically our own boss when it comes to the aging process.
I love that. I love that, we come to you for guidance, but really it's our decisions and the habits and the things that we do every single day that are going to help us in this healthy aging process. So I know that you love this so much that you wrote a book all about it. So tell us the name of your book and tell us a little bit about what we're going to learn if we pick this book up.
Yeah, the title of the book is Age Later. Very telling, right?
Yeah.
and you can age later, and the subtitle is just in 7 weeks, how to look younger, how to look 7 years younger in just 7 weeks.
Right. I'm going to do 14 weeks.
Yeah, me too.
And I truly believe that if you are in your 40s and 50s and you have done a few things wrong, and you pick up my book, you're going to find numerous tips and tricks how to delay the aging process and how to really look younger in a very short period of time. It's really not rocket science.
Right.
And I'm really trying to explain very scientific things in layman's terms, so that everybody can really understand it. And I was trying to break it down and make it simple and give real world tips and tricks how we can actually do that ourselves. And not just jump for the knife, so to say,
right?
And try to rely on short-term fixes.
How did you come up with the 7 weeks, the 7 years? Is there a reason for that? Is that after kind of doing this yourself that you felt that's enough time to really see change? Where did you get that part of that? I'm super interested in that.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I wish I would have a very sophisticated answer to this, but the number 7 is just a very catchy number.
Okay, I like it too.
You do usually things in 3s or in 7s,
right?
And 3 years younger is not so catchy. I don't think. So I thought 7 years sounds much better.
Now,
you also, yeah.
Are these things that you have given your patients? Are these things is this why you look so young? Because you do them personally?
Yes.
Like, how did you decide, like, these are the things that are going in the book? Are there 7 things too, or are there more than 7 things?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I originally wanted to have seven subjects.
Okay.
But I actually settled on just 4 main topics.
Oh, love it.
Because I do believe that you need to keep it simple, and
yes.
then 7 things would be a little bit much, and that's why I described 4 topics in the book, and those topics are skin, diet, exercise, and our mental well-being in the mind.
Right.
And those are the main 4 topics that you can really focus yourself on and make a true difference in your entire life.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love this. I love the 4 things too, because
it does make it simple, and it's kind of how we talk about skincare, right? Yeah. If you're giving somebody 7 or 10 different products, they're going to be overwhelmed, right, especially if they're new to this.
Right.
And they're probably not going to follow through. So 4 seems very approachable. It's, you can balance that very easily. Yeah. So I definitely love that that's kind of the mindset that you had when you were writing this. What sources did you use? Was this your personal experience? Was it travel? I mean, I know you've traveled everywhere. We were just talking about that. And I know that that's your inspiration when it comes to ingredients and things in skincare. But what would you say is your number one sources for the information that you found?
Yeah, I think the number one source is really a deep dive in the clinical scientific evidence-based data that I was researching on the internet and in books and in articles and in magazines. So I used hundreds of references and sources. There's a section in the book with numerous pages full of references. So everything is really scientific based, but obviously I intertwine that with my personal experience. Like you said, I travel a lot. I see what Asian people, for example, do in South Korea or in Japan, and so it is a combination of my personal experience, of my professional experience, but what was very important for me, that those are not anecdotal stories,
Right.
Okay.
but much rather everything is based on science. Everything is really has a real deep foundation, what I'm describing, and that was very important to me.
I love that. I think that's, especially for someone that doesn't know you through other journeys,
Right.
To have those sources and see that it's actually science we're talking about here. We're not just,
Making it up as we
right.
go.
We're not just saying drink your water. This is actual factual information that a lot of people
And
probably already know, but don't know how to apply.
And it's really risky when you just Google something,
Right,
or you
yes.
look on your Instagram. You have
Yes.
a ton of you have a ton of so-called experts that just write about their own opinions, and you have a ton of misinformation out there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that is dangerous.
It's
and
terrifying.
It is terrifying.
right.
And sometimes, people don't do their own research. So, if they're on Instagram all the time and they like a person's personality, they're going to do whatever they say.
think
And
that's the truth.
it's like the Gorilla Glue girl. Like,
Yeah,
wasn't a good thing for her, but, she did it. So I'm glad that we have actual science behind this, because it just makes it even better information. Okay, so let's dive into those 4 different subjects that you talked about in your book. So starting with skin, what are your favorite skincare ingredients? And what would you say is like the must in everyone's skincare regimen? I know I've talked about this with you before, but I'm interested to see if it's changed since the last time we've talked about it.
It's probably revolving.
Totally.
My favorite changes
Sometimes.
all the time.
Sometimes I change my mind, but
Yeah.
not on that.
Not on
not
this
on
one?
that. Not on this one.
Okay.
To keep it simple, basically, what is good for your body from the inside is usually also beneficial for the outside.
Right.
And that's how I look at skincare ingredients.
Okay.
Antioxidants, vitamins,
Mm-hmm.
all those things that are free radical scavengers. All those things are super beneficial for our skin. And then you have newer type of ingredients that we at Image are really big fans of, like peptides,
Yes.
which are
Love peptides.
small little molecules that can alter certain functions in our skin cells. For example, they can increase collagen or elastin production, or they can even inhibit little muscle contractions to
Right.
reduce fine lines and wrinkles. All those are very exciting new ingredients. But when it comes to the mainstay stuff that I really truly believe in, then those would be really the antioxidants, the fruits and vegetables that we know are beneficial for our entire body, are also beneficial for our skin. And then when it comes to the skin regime, I believe in simplicity. You need a good facial cleanser in the
Right.
morning and the evening.
Yes.
You need a good moisturizer, but most importantly, you need great sun protection
Yes.
daily.
Yes, number one.
Because we know that 90% of the aging process on our skin is due to UV radiation and our sun exposure, and there you already have you one of the big solutions that you can do in order to prevent the aging processes on your skin. Use a great sun protection daily, and it on a long-term effect, it will have great benefit for you.
Absolutely. I think that's all of here at least, it's our number one.
That is
if you could have
definitely my
the last
number one.
thing on a stranded island by yourself or deserted island and you were stranded, it's sunscreen, right? It has to be.
Well, since I'm on an island, yes.
I would do eye conceal because it's makeup and sunscreen.
Just in case you get rescued, you can look.
I want to look my best. You give a little something to, a little glow about you. What about skin treatments? How do you feel about, lasers or injectables or, chemical peels, et cetera? Or is there a go-to for you? Is there a routine that you do?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of non-invasive injectables, Botox and fillers, hyaluronic acid that you can can inject underneath your skin layers and really plump up your skin. And those are great maintenance treatments and techniques that truly work. I also believe in mild exfoliation. And I'm really not a big fan of lasers.
Really?
Because I do believe, no,
okay.
I'm not.
That's interesting.
And I constantly, in presentations or in talks, I try to explain that because a laser is a high energetic force on our skin, and it creates inflammation, and it creates also free radicals, and all those things are actually negative for our skin, and it leads to a prolonged healing process. And yes, you might reduce some wrinkles and fine lines and maybe a little bit of pigmentation in the short term, but I think long term it is not helpful when you talk about healthy aging or delaying the aging process for many years to come. I'm not a big fan.
That's interesting. Well, I would say if you're doing all of the things in your book, you might not need to get to that point where you need a laser. So hopefully, people are doing all the things to prevent having to go that extreme.
Lasers are not mentioned in my book.
I mean, I knew that. I have read it.
What do you think, Dr. Marc, is one of the biggest mistakes that people make with skincare? Because I think even with healthy aging, like thinking that you're never going to have a wrinkle, nothing's ever going to sag, you're never going to lose volume. Like people think that they can stop the aging process. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, the biggest skincare mistake, I guess, one would be to do nothing. Two would be to do too much.
Right.
You know, to over exfoliate and overstimulate your skin cells over and over again, that they eventually are exhausted and lose their regenerative powers. And lastly, probably not using any sun protection.
Right.
Even if you are in colder climates, you always have UV radiation, and we discussed that already, that sun protection is really key, and that's one of the big mistakes. Certain people use retinol products, and then in combination with no sunscreen,
terrifying.
It's actually negative for your
skin.
Right, you know?
Absolutely.
So those are the things that are easy to manage, and what I say, biggest skincare mistake, that's tough to pinpoint.
So there's more than one.
There's more than one. Everything in moderation.
Exactly.
Don't go into extremes. Don't do nothing. Don't do everything.
Right.
Stick in the
There's
middle.
a happy medium.
Yes. Yes. All right. What about, we want to get into the next topic in your book, which is diet. So I think a lot of people don't understand how diet can affect your aging or how you look outwardly. Right. So what are some of your favorite healthy aging foods?
So diet is a very emotional topic for me, living in the United States. Because 70% of the entire population in the United States is overweight and obese, and that's shocking.
It is.
And it has a detrimental effect on our kids. It has a detrimental effect on our entire lifespan. In fact, we are the only industrialized nation on the entire planet where the life expectancy for the last 2 to 3 years is going down and not up.
Wow.
And that is a sad story, and that has something to do with our diet.
Right.
And it's an overconsumption of food, and it's the consumption of the wrong food.
Right.
And the sheer volume is insane that we consume in the United States and other Western worlds.
You go to a restaurant, you get so much food, it's like enough for 5 people.
Right.
On one plate.
Yeah.
And in Europe, so it's not like the portion problem. Size is so different.
Yeah.
You know, process aside, because that's a whole other level of it. But, you know, when you've been to Europe, I've been to Europe, it's like normal sizes there. And here it's like a big supersize me, basically.
Yes, everything is supersized.
Yeah, it's a big problem. So when we talk about healthy foods that are great for our skin, for our overall health. Everything that has deep colors, I'm a big fan of.
Right.
Berries, for example, nuts and seeds. Walnuts are great.
Oh, I love
Ginger
walnuts.
and ginseng are great antioxidants. Dark leafy greens, all those things are super beneficial for our entire body. And then when you talk about what you really need to avoid, then it's basically all the processed food,
Right.
Meat products. I personally don't eat meat anymore.
Okay.
I think meat accelerates the aging process tremendously. And then the consumption of sugar
Yes.
is a big issue.
And it hides in everything. Sugars and things
Yes.
that you don't even think that there's sugar in.
Same with carbs. There's carbs in everything, but carbs aren't bad. But the overconsumption of carbs
Right.
can be bad. So
Right. It's got to be a healthy balance.
right. So as far as causing aging, are there specific things that are directly linked to aging, or is it just kind of that whole? I mean, when you think about the processed food, in my mind, I think because I try to stay away from that myself, and I try not to go to fast food places unless it's like the last thing on. I'm starving and I can't get an apple or something. But would you say that's what's wreaking havoc on the inside that's causing that like inflammation in the body, the wear and tear, the stress even of trying to break it down? Are there specific foods that are caused, or is it just kind of that overall pocket of processed, et cetera, that you were just talking about?
No, I think we mentioned that already. The two main culprits of accelerated aging are meat products, especially red meat,
Okay.
from cows and pork, and then sugary products. Sugar with everything, and the sugar content even in yogurts and in other products that you might believe are healthy for you, but then they are just saturated with sugar. So those are the two main things that I would tell you to focus on.
Right.
Cut out the meat consumption and try to cut down your sugar consumption as much as you can.
How do you feel about fish? Or like eggs?
Yeah, I don't think necessarily fish once a week is necessarily bad.
Okay.
For my own personal taste, I can do without it. But for me, it's a more personal preference. I feel sorry for animals, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like to eat animal products anymore in my life.
Right.
But I do believe that if you eat a piece of fish once in a while with healthy omega-3s, and it is quite beneficial, and it will not hurt you.
Good to know.
Yeah. So we know that you need like a healthy diet, like how you were saying, your dark, all leafy greens and your berries. I always tell my kids to eat the rainbow. But is it just food that you're getting these nutrients from? Is it better to get it from your foods, or is it better to have some supplements that you're doing every day to be able to get these nutrients?
So that is a super good question. Should I rather eat normal food and then I have everything covered and I don't even need supplements anymore? That's a general question that I always hear. And during my research, when I dug a little bit deeper in the nutrient content of our food nowadays, it is really shocking to discover the depletion of nutrients.
Right.
So, for example, when you look at vitamin A content in carrots or vitamins in tomatoes or oranges, you have a almost up to 90% reduction in nutrient value of our current food that you can buy in the supermarket nowadays than just 25 years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's a revelation.
Yeah.
That I found is really you can eat very healthy, but don't expect that you get the same quality in nutrients that you used to get 25 years ago. So I do believe that certain essential nutrients and vitamins, supplementation is really important. For example, over 90% of people in our country and elsewhere have a vitamin D deficiency.
Right.
And it's very difficult to get vitamin D. And we live in Florida, and my vitamin D level was even reduced.
Mine was too.
So that those things are very important to supplement.
Okay. And so supplements every day. If I just take it in the morning, is that okay? Do I need to spread them out so that my body has time to absorb them, like morning, noon, and night? Or do I just do one multivitamin during the day and that's enough?
Doesn't even matter,
Okay.
I would say. Personal preference. Certain people need to eat something first, and then they can take their supplementation.
Right.
Some people like it in the evening. I usually combine it with my toothbrushing. I brush my teeth, take a glass of water and my supplements, and then off I go for the day. So that's my program.
Yeah, I like that habit stacking.
Right.
So if you aren't doing
I'm
it
a
now,
morning person.
Yeah,
I'll forget.
Add it to a habit you have now.
Absolutely. We talked about that last month, and I think I've been trying to do that, so that's been good. What about collagen? Do you believe in collagen supplements? And do you there's different types. So there's, liquid, there's powder, there's probably, pill form. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Collagen products really depends on where it's sourced.
Right.
I think there's a ton of collagen products out there that use cheap byproducts from animal processing factories. That's an issue and a concern. So you want to use a product that uses a high quality type of collagen. And then overall, I think good collagen has shown to be beneficial for skin overall, reduction in fine lines and wrinkles, and there is some clinical evidence that it is helpful. I would just be careful to do a little bit more research behind where is it sourced.
Right. Are there foods that have collagen? I think I've never really thought about it that way, but is there like specific food that could give you that, or is it supplementation is going to be your best route?
We do offer supplements and with the company that I'm running, and that's a challenge. Right. Collagen is a product or an ingredient that can only be found in the animal world. Mm-hmm. So there is currently nothing out there that is derived from plants. However, there's an exciting project going on right now where we can produce collagen by yeast fermentation.
Oh, okay.
It is not on the market yet, but in a couple of months it will be available, and I think that's very exciting because then we don't have to use the collagen derived from animals anymore.
Right.
It is exciting.
That's awesome.
I love how this technology keeps changing with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about a first timer? So somebody's coming to you for advice and they have a terrible diet, or maybe they have a great diet. Like I have a great diet. I think.
Have a terrible diet. Ashleigh and I are polar opposites.
The both of us are going to come to you and say, Dr. Marc, we want to change our diet. What do we do first?
What's one thing?
So people that tell me they have a terrible diet usually don't have that bad of a diet.
Oh, good.
And people that tell me, oh, you know what, I have a great diet. Those are the people that usually have a horrible diet.
What? So I feel attacked.
Yeah, I mean, this is,
I love this.
I know your diet, Jacquelyn. Mine is definitely better than yours.
Thank you, Dr. Marc.
Yeah, I'm backing you up here.
Yes,
Jack.
Thank you.
But what you need to do, and what I tell clients or patients is start a diary of your eating habits.
Okay.
You got to write it down to really analyze it, because you're going to be surprised, first of all, about the amount that you eat, and then also the stuff that you eat during the day. The mindless snacking, that when you sit in front of the computer and you have something besides you. So you have to write all that down for a few days, and then compare that with current scientific data that you can easily find, for example, in my book or on the internet, which will take you a little bit longer, but yeah, that would be a great start.
Okay.
To do that little exercise, to really write down.
We're going to compare next week, Ashleigh.
Oh, girl.
And then you compare, and then you tell me what you all ate in a week, and then you're probably going to be shocked either in a positive way that you do many things right, or in a negative way where you say, holy moly, I didn't know that I'm actually consuming so much food.
Right. I feel like you'll be very happy with my diet. I've really cleaned it up.
That's great.
I've always been more into healthy. Portion was everything for me. That was my biggest thing. I'm like, well, I eat salad, so I can eat this much, And so portion was my biggest change in my diet, I think. Not sugar, this one over here.
I haven't changed mine. So
we're going to compare notes.
We're going to compare notes. We'll call you back on this one, Dr. Marc.
Okay, great.
All right, so the next...
I'll keep you guys honest.
Oh, yes. Good. He's going to judge us hard.
Does wine count?
Yeah, that was a great question. What about wine? Red wine.
How much does wine count, Dr. Marc?
Next topic, please.
and champagne.
Yeah.
It's from grapes. I feel like it's a serving.
I mean, champagne's supposed to be good for your brain, and red wine has antioxidants. So maybe this is another.
In moderation, it's great.
Okay, good to know. Okay, he means one glass, maybe, and it's like a very small pour, like a 2-ounce pour, if you really break it down.
But I would almost go up to 6 ounces, and you should be fine. Yeah,
good to
I'll
know.
give you that.
If you split it in 2, 3 and 3, then it's 2 glasses of wine.
Okay, I like this.
Let's try that for a week.
Okay.
All right, let's talk exercise. I'm super interested in this because I've probably been exercising since I was born. So, but I know a lot about, overdoing something and what's the right thing for your body, and actually overworking out can be, it can cause a lot of issues. So, how does exercise contribute to the healthy aging process? And I'll just jump into the next part of that too. Would you pick strenuous exercise over something like a yoga?
Yeah. Okay. Let's break this down.
Okay.
Healthy aging and exercise. Exercise is one of those 4 main blocks.
Right.
And I'm going to try to make this the most simplistic way I can. Okay. So exercise helps to deliver more oxygen to our body cells. And in return, our cells have a better capability to regenerate, reduce toxins in our body, and all that also contributes to an increased metabolism, which in return reduces body weight, and which in return prevents from various diseases that shorten our life. So it is really a cascade of events that are triggered by exercising. And of course you can do too much. Right. But I can also promise you, most people do too little.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So that's a bigger issue than doing too much for many of us. And you got to get your heart rate up once a day for at least 30 minutes. So 3 or 4 times a week is good, but it's not great. You should really try to do something every single day.
Okay.
And a walk is also good, but a walk doesn't get your heart rate up. And that is really crucial because our heart is also a muscle.
Right.
And we have to train all our muscles in our body. So you got to get your heart rate up once a day for a few minutes to really stay healthy. And then to your second question, that's a tough one because everything fulfills kind of a good need. Strenuous exercise is good for strength and endurance and pumping more oxygen throughout our body cells. But yoga is a great exercise as well. And I'm a big fan of yoga because yoga is flexibility.
Right.
Okay.
And I always say flexibility is longevity. Very rarely you see an older person that is super flexible that looks unhealthy.
Yeah,
old people that are flexible, they are super agile, they're alert, they seem to have a great mind, still a clear mind, and that's why if you want to live longer, younger, you gotta stay flexible.
That's
and I'm a tall person. I'm 6'6".
yes.
and for me that is one of my main objectives, to stay flexible, because I know if I would stiffen up over time, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but I'm probably going to end up in a wheelchair,
Oh,
when I'm 60 or 65.
Right.
So I pay a lot of attention to that, and I think both is you got to do some physical exercise and get your heart rate up, and then you got to work on your flexibility.
I think that's key, because that's the hardest thing for me, is the stretching.
Yeah, you got to have the balance.
I can work out, like I will take any type of class, I will do any type of workout you give me, but the stretching part is like, oh, I don't have time to do that. I'm fine. And I think that's something that I've been mindful of lately, and I think you're 1,000% right. It's, when you get older, you're not taking cycling classes like that. Or some people do. I've had older people in class with me.
But you still should be flexible.
But the flexible one, yeah. And I don't want to look hunched over either, because that's not attractive. So.
No. And that's not healthy aging.
No.
And I think what I'm getting from this entire conversation is, when we're talking about healthy aging, I think so many people just attribute aging to if they can see lines or wrinkles.
Right.
Or if their skin is losing elasticity. But it's everything.
Right.
It's how you look, it's how you feel, it's how you move, it's how you eat. So all of that is aging, and I think that's kind of going to be my biggest takeaway from this.
Totally.
It's not just about if I have some crow's feet or not.
Which you don't.
Well,
she doesn't.
Thank you, melanin.
Yes.
But
I don't either, because of Botox and skincare.
But eventually you may. But if I have a couple of crow's feet, but I still eat well and I can move well and I feel good, then that's healthy aging. And I think that should be a huge takeaway.
And aging isn't just appearance.
No.
It's longevity of life.
It's longevity of life, and not ending up in a wheelchair, Dr. Marc.
Right. Well, let's talk about sleep. That's like kind of the end of this topic. But I know that a lot of times exercise can lead you to better sleep, and sleep is something I also really love and work on all the time. And I know that it attributes to aging. So can you touch on sleep and how that's important, and maybe the exercise link?
Yeah. Sleep is a super important topic when it comes to aging and delaying the process of it. The same with stress. You can almost put this into the same bucket.
Right.
And that has something to do with our mental well-being. Lack of sleep, the same way as stress, it triggers a lot of bad hormones in our body. For example, cortisol is going up, serotonin is going down. That can lead to depression. That leads to oxygen deprivation of our cells. It leads to weakening of our immune system. So it has an whole array of negative impact for our entire body. That we need to pay attention that we get enough sleep. And we need to pay attention that we are not running around in our daily lives totally stressed out of our mind.
Right.
So you got to pay attention to that the same way, and that's why this is the fourth bucket. Our mind and mental well-being bucket is as crucial as the diet, the exercise, and the skincare that we can do. All that plays a big role.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into that mind and stress, are you a big fan of meditation? I know yoga could be exercise and stress relief in one. So what are some of your ways to work on your mind and eliminate that stress, or try to fight stress as much as you can? Manage it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm a big fan of meditation, and because it really helps your body to lower your blood pressure. It reduces your stress level. It increases your mental health. So I'm a big fan of meditation, and I take few minutes out every single day. And people that know me, they know that for me, the work-life balance is really super important. So, for example, I schedule my work appointments in the same discipline as I schedule my free time and play time, very disciplined. So I would never cancel an hour of tennis because there's an important business meeting coming up, and I'm very disciplined around scheduling the balance of the positive things, and the same way as I schedule the work stuff.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That's a great tip.
It is. And actually, we talked about that in the Wellness Summit when we were talking with Jana, actually, and Adam from Heyday. He said the same thing. The older that he gets, he said now he schedules in those times for me time, basically, or an activity, or just to take some time. And he said he doesn't move them because it's important to take that time for yourself and really have that balance. Right. So I agree with you 100%. Totally. I think that's
I think it's when we're so accessible all the time. Like, all of my friends know that my phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if you're texting me or calling me after 9 o'clock, you're not going to reach me till 7 o'clock the next morning. I literally turn my phone off.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to have some time where you're just shut down.
Right.
And you're not so inundated with everything that's
It's very hard to do.
It is
in our society, especially. I mean, it's work some more.
Yeah. I think we've made it hard to do.
At
first, I was a little panicked. Like, for the first, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I miss a call?
Right.
And then I realized nobody wanted to talk to me that much anyway. And
it's not that important.
I wasn't missing that many calls. And now it's like very nice to know. And, I wake up in the morning and I see notifications of people who called me after 9, and I just schedule it into my next day.
Right.
To get back in touch with them. But it's been very therapeutic for me to shut down at 9 o'clock.
I like that. I might try that too.
Yeah.
Dr. Marc, tell me, can you give me like a day in the life of you? So from like sun up to sundown, and how you, like, what's your schedule like when you're feeling your most balanced and healthy and aging later?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm still traveling a lot, so I have a pretty unrigid schedule throughout the week. But anyway, I'm gonna try to give you kind of my typical day. Wake up fairly early, I would say like 6:30 or so. We have small little kids,
right.
So either myself or my wife have to drive them to school, but then I'm trying to do some exercise. I have a personal trainer, and you can do this also by yourself, but I'm not disciplined enough to kick my butt every day. So I have somebody that is fulfilling that duty to kick it, and then I either exercise with somebody, or I play tennis. And I do that 5 times a week, Monday to Friday. Every day I have something. And then I have my work schedule, and I typically don't like, and I know that doesn't work for just about everybody, but I have the luxury and flexibility that I can do it. I typically don't schedule anything before 10 a.m.
Nice.
I'm fittest in my head.
Right.
And I have time for myself, half an hour to read the newspaper or do a little bit of meditation. And then at 10 o'clock, I try to do a lot of in-person meetings and try not to answer emails or be just on my computer. So I do a lot of things in person. And nowadays you can do those also on Zoom.
Right.
And try to get our team going and do the work. I usually have a very light breakfast. I usually only use a vegan organic protein powder that has everything in there, like fiber and super fruits and super foods and super greens all in one. And I use that, or I use a little muesli, a couple bites.
Okay.
So I have a very light breakfast. And then for lunch, I usually have only a salad or a half a sandwich. So I really try to not overeat during the day, and then I have a full meal in the evening. But I try to get my exercise and my my mental balance stuff out of the way in the morning, and then I feel much more productive during the day.
I'm the same way. I feel like I'm a nicer person too because I've done something for me.
Yes.
And it wakes me up, and you definitely do feel like the oxygen going to your brain, and I feel more alert and able to take on the day versus not working out and then working out later in the day.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're struggling to get it done.
Off, it's not going to happen. So on my mirror, it just has a sign that says "Win the morning."
Yeah.
So I know.
Mine says "Get your butt to the gym."
Yeah. If I don't win the morning, then the rest of my day is probably not also going to get won.
Right. Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
I mean, just doing simple things like that can really make or break your day.
Do you have a favorite hobby or favorite way that just makes you relax, recharge? What's your absolute favorite go-to if you need to de-stress, Dr. Marc?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of playing tennis.
Okay.
So I grew up with tennis, and it really helps me get my mind off everything. I can really focus on that exercise. I think it is a great exercise to play tennis. It
Absolutely.
really moves every single muscle in your body. You know, you need to use your mental strength, your focus. I think tennis is a great sport. You can do it until you're 90 years old or older. And it is a sport that leads to very low possibility of injuries, I believe. And so tennis is a great all-around sport. But like I said already, yoga is part of my routine as well. And then physical exercise in addition to that.
I love that.
All right. I love it.
So if you could give the listeners 3 simple, immediate changes besides reading your book that they can make their life, or they can make to their lifestyle after listening to this podcast, what would be your top 3 things for them to do right now?
Yeah, keep your weight down. You know, monitor your weight. That is key. Weight contributes to many of the diseases and ailments that we suffer in society. Avoid meat, and then do some physical exercise.
Right.
And those are 3 things that I do believe make a significant difference in your health, in the way how you're going to age.
I love that.
I love that. So if people have additional questions, what's some ways that they can get in touch with you? Do you have social media? Can they get in your DMs? Do you have a website? What's the best way?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. I have my Instagram page.
Okay.
That's Dr. Marc Ronert. Very easy to find.
Very easy.
Okay. You can always DM me. You can also find me on imageskincare.com.
Okay.
And you can also find me at hashandhash.com, which is the supplement company that I'm involved in. But I think the easiest is the Instagram.
Right. And for the listeners, it's Marc with a C.
Yes.
Just make
Correct.
Sure.
Right.
You need to spell it right.
Very important.
Got to spell it right.
Well, I think this has been one of my favorite topics so far. I always love speaking to you. I think I learn so much every time we have these interviews and chats, and I really appreciate your time today for sure.
My pleasure. It was super fun with you guys.
It's always fun, Dr. Marc. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
I'm going to try to eliminate meat a couple days a week. I can't promise, all the time, but I'm going to start slow, baby steps.
Yeah, we're definitely going to write our diets down and compare, and then we'll send them to you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. So to get a copy of Dr. Marc's book, Age Later, Look 7 Years Younger in Just 7 Weeks, you can visit imageskincare.com. Make sure you're following Image Skincare on social media. It's just at Image Skincare. We're on every platform you can think of. And make sure that you tune in to next month for an awesome topic. We look forward to talking with you all again. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Skinfluenced. If you are skincare obsessed just like us, don't forget to subscribe and rate this podcast. We also love hearing from our skincare fans, so send us your questions and comments to skinfluenced@imageskincare.com.